you can open Anaconda. You can open Anaconda, and then from Anaconda you can open Jupyter Notebook. So either way, still it will still work, right? So that is the first thing that you need to do. As I said, first thing, either you can search on Jupyter, and then you can open Jupyter, or you can search Anaconda, and then you can launch your Jupyter from Anaconda. So once you launch your Jupyter, it's going to give you this kind of an interface. Okay, so now here you're supposed to maybe create an object or create a folder. So we open this. Okay, this is what we did last week. We did create this file. So we're opening this file. Yeah, it's the same file. I close one. Here we have the Python programming, or we can say it is simply basics of Python programming language. And I remember the first thing we did is we tried to write the first line of code, which is print hello world, which ran successfully, right? But now we want to introduce concepts of Python. So let's start in variables. Variables, or we call them identifiers. Right? So a variable identifier is a name in Python programming that can be used to store a value. Okay, it can be used to store a value. For example, write a simple variable. We can say we have ABC, yeah. Then we can say we have 15. This ABC is going to store a value 15. Okay, this ABC is going to store a value 15. So when we run this variable, let me add some cells here. When we run this variable, it's going to give us the value that is stored in that variable ABC, which is 15. Or instead of writing ABC, you can write print ABC. Print ABC. Still it's going to give us the same output. So you see a variable ABC is storing a value 15. Then remember we said about how we have an equal sign. So an equal sign is used to assign a value to a variable. Right? It's used to assign a value to a variable. So we discussed about different rules. Now, let's try to apply these rules. We say that we cannot create a variable starting with a digit. Sorry. For example, we say 1C. We can say 1C we assign a value to. Print this. If we print this, it's going to an error. Yeah, it's going to give us error. So that means we are not supposed to create anything with a digit. Sorry, but you can create a variable with a digit, but this should come either after a character or within a character. Okay, for example, let's say A1, right? We say that is 12. So when you print A1, it's going to give us 12. So you can create a variable after, you can add a digit after a character. Okay, so that is one rule. Okay, so this is we said we cannot don't a variable starting with a digit. Okay. But we can have the digits that comes after a character. Okay. So let's say you can create a variable with this coming after character. Delete by character. So that is how we can declare variable with digit, but it should be after a character. And then we will say you we don't use the variables. Let's see. We have a dollar sign. Then assume we have a variable a with a value 23. What happens when we run this? We get an error, invalid syntax. So you should not create a variable starting with a dollar sign, or either it is or the dollar sign. It should not be, a dollar sign should not be used to create a, well, let's say a dollar sign. We say again to detail. So if we run a dollar sign, it's going to give us an error. That is because it's not, it already defined that we should not create a variable using a dollar sign. Okay, using a dollar sign. And then we said about having an underscore. Okay, so we said if you have an underscore, let's go C. That means you're going to create a identifier. We assume that is C300. So this is going to be a private identifier. Okay, this is going to be a private identifier. Although it's not clear here, but we'll be able to see how this applies when we'll be discussing about it in functions. We'll see how these private identifiers work in functions. I hope up to this point everything is clear. Okay, so we have the function of it. Now, so this is creating a private variable, and then I want us to say, remember we said we cannot create a variable using some of the reserved words we have. Let's try to guess the reserved words. Just we get the list of it. So you can say import. Okay, we import keyword. So this importing keyword is going to list for us, or it's going to get for us the different keywords that we have that we need not to use to define a variable. For example, let's list the reserved words. So we can do this. We can say keyword. Remember, we've imported a keyword. Okay, we've imported keyword. Then we have a function we call as keyword list. Okay, we call it keyword list. So this is all the keywords we have. Let me get it in horizontal. Let's say please. Okay, these are some of the keywords that we have. We have false, none, true. We have BG, pass. We have and as, assert, sync, await, break, class, continue, diff, deal, and if, else, and so on. So these are reserved keywords. So you should not use this reserved word to define your variable. Okay. So okay. For this reserved keywords, we can see we have false none. So these are totally reserved keywords in Python whose first character starts with uppercase. That is false none and true. Sorry, that is false none and true. So this is some of the keywords that we have in okay. And then we said we're creating variables. So how do we, or what is the need of creating these variables? For example, let's say we have a 20, then we have b 18 or 16. Because instead of saying 20 plus 20 plus, you can use the variables to return a sum of these values. Okay, so this is sum equals 20 plus 16. So instead of saying this, instead of saying plus 16, you can simply call the variables and then you can get a sum of these values. We can say print a plus b. Okay, so it will still give us the same. Another advantage for this is you can have a string. You can say the sum. Okay, so that is simply how we create the variables.